All right, so we are here with the amazing Alara LaPlante. We are going to be diving into her elemental journey with water blessings, and she is a very, very special teacher and the founder of the Cosmic Christ Force. I had the pleasure of meeting her in Guatemala, in Lake Atitlan, and our hearts were actually joined few months before in a Zoom meeting honoring one of a mentor we shared, and we still share, Keith Wilson, and we are just really excited to join to join in celebration today of in the element of water. And so thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is fun. It's good to see you.
Yay. And I love the background. You're bringing so much just with that beautiful tranquility that you have there.
It
Amazing.
does, yeah, Sedona does that for me. It's like I just get to show up and really it's not about me at all. The energy of Cathedral Rock is coming your way. So yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited to get started talking a little bit about why water has been such an important element in your journey, and and I mean, we did meet in Lake Atitlan, which was another really sacred body of water. So how are these connections with the water still moving along in your life to guide the path for you?
Yeah, well, and when I was at Atitlan, I, we had the fortune of sitting in some ceremonies with Mayan elders and learning about Mayan traditions. And I learned about the Mayan calendar and have been actually syncing that with my own personal daily calendar for the last couple of years. And it's been such a beautiful thing to be able to wake up every day and go, what's the energy of the day? And sync up with those cosmic and earthly rhythms. And I found that in that tradition, I'm actually a 7 Emux, and Emux is water.
The
It's the water
healing.
element.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, thinking about the water, it's been interesting too over the past year or so, as more has been revealed to me about my connection with Yeshua and remembrances from that lifetime, where I walked with him and remembering the teachings, they were so much different than what have been handed down.
Mm.
Very cosmic and also very aligned with the native teachings and traditions in many ways. And he would talk about water quite a lot as symbolic and, literally different ways that water influences us. Where to go with that? There's so much I could say there. Mm, so much is coming in.
Yay.
Yeah. Being able to really flow with life. If we started there, many of us have been constructed into a very linear, modern 3D sort of way of living. And this is very different from the way that so many of the ancient traditions moved with and flowed with life. Really getting to a point where we trust in spirit, we really tune into our divine alignment and our intuitive guidance and allow ourselves um, hmm, to be pulled along the river of life,
Mm.
you know, to be carried.
Beautiful.
And as we do, the most amazing and wondrous synchronicities happen. So if we start to look even at time as a flow and as more of a spiral than a line, there's so many things that we can start to shift and change our perception. As we talk about the river, when Yeshua was baptized, this is going to be a really fun neurodivergent river-like stream of thought. So we'll just flow with it here. I'm like, about 10 different things came in all at once, and that's usually how my mind works. And then it's sort of a stringboarding process to go, okay, how do they connect? And then
And
we
that's what we'll
flow.
figure out during this time is where the thread is, but we trust the thread is.
Exactly. Exactly. I know you live that way. So, but just for your audience, I was like, hey, here's what's going on. So we're gonna flow with this. When he went to the waters, and he talks about this, and there's a book, The Christ Letters, Jesus Returns, Speaks His Truth, that's been in the past 20 years or so channeled through. And it'll just say by recorder. The person was so free of ego in this process and so surrendered to it that they didn't even take credit for the writing. which to me speaks to the purity of the transmission. And I was made aware of this after having many memories returned to me over the last couple of years from that lifetime. And I thought, am I crazy? Is there any validation or any proof for any of these things that I'm remembering? And then someone met me, connected hands with me, had a vision, saw me as Yeshua's sister answering the door for him, if I hadn't mentioned that yet. Um, and then introduced me to the Christ letters, in which it does talk about a lot of the things that I remember, all of them, actually. So all of that to say, there is a passage in there where he talks about, didn't anybody wonder what happened after I was baptized in the water? Like, what happened in the desert? Nobody talks about that. It's not in the Bible. He's like, here, let me tell you. And so he talks about how he went into the waters, and because he really had lived quite a challenging existence. He really had a hard time being in the world, like so many of us who are heart-centered and high frequency do. It can be hard to look around at the world and just be in it, because it is so dense, and there's an intensity to the density here in the 3D. So as he was living his life and just getting by and trying to figure things out, he found out about what John was doing in the river, and he went to the river to be baptized by John. And when he went in, he really was at a low point. He was very determined to let go of and shed anything that was in his way. And he was very sincere in his desire to repent and to find a new way of life, find a way forward, because he was feeling rather hopeless. And when he went into the waters, he said he felt stunned. His entire body began to vibrate intensely. And he stumbled out of the waters and wandered into the desert, and proceeded to then have his enlightenment and his awakening, spending many, many days, about 6 weeks in the desert, and noticing how everything wasn't actually solid, right? Because he was feeling and experiencing an atomic shift in his own body. We would now call it an atomic shift. They had different words then. He called them motes. Why did he call them motes? Well, if you think about the root of the word emotion, which water is symbolic of, if we think about it, and we can talk about the metaphor of water for emotions, of course. But he talked about motes. Well, motes, emotion, right? Energy and motion, motes. If you think about it, like our emotional and mental fields, they emit from us, you could almost liken them to liquid light, you know, streams of consciousness, quite literally. And they ripple out, and through electromagnetism, they attract back to us opportunities that are aligned with whatever it is that we want to experience, heal, etc. And of course, as the loving parents that the earth and consciousness in general are, uh, they attract experiences for us that are going to bring us higher and higher into our own divine alignment. Sometimes through this lifetime, sometimes over many, many, as I've seen in my own case where I've been remembering all of mine. And so, yeah, it's interesting. So to go back to his story, he really looked around and he said, "Wow, everything that we need is provided. Everything that we need." It's like, look at it, it's perfect. You need protection for the end of your fingers? Here are fingernails. You know, um, in nature, everything has its own food provided for it within proximity. The remedy is always in proximity. There were all of these things, and he really went into this deep process of appreciation, gratitude, joy, and love, and seeing the love of the Father, the consciousness that comes down and combines with the mother, the raw material for then bringing the creation into form, and how that could flow. And that was really what had happened. So a few months ago, as I was discovering the Christ letters, and I hadn't started to read them yet because I always check in and ask, and he was like, not yet. He asked me to go to the river here in Sedona, to Oak Creek, and to do a water blessing. And I said, okay, well, what are we doing? That sounds fun. Let's try it. It was a little cold outside. I think it was like January or February, but I'm game. Um, so a friend of mine and I went down to the river. And this is again prior to reading that, although I had remembered some of the things that he had told me about this. But I walked down into the river as instructed, and I connected in with, and what I'd love to guide us through, actually, if you don't mind, would be a really brief little meditation. Mhm. To show you what came through that day.
Love that.
Um, yeah, so if you close your eyes, yeah, all right, let's just envision ourselves standing by. I'm actually hearing the words a babbling brook, a beautiful river. The sun is shining. A few gentle clouds drift by in the sky, and a feeling of peace comes over us. We've taken our shoes off, so our feet are in the grass, and we're enjoying the way that that feels on the bottoms of the feet, between the toes. And we'd like to connect now with the signature frequency of this planet, this earth, in her most pure form. Calling that up now. Feeling her coming in, merging with you, this beautiful planet that you are a part of. All of us part of this planet, this one body of which we are a part, each in our uniqueness, an expression of one whole. And as we connect with her essence, her signature frequency in its most pure form, feeling her love, her gratitude for this moment of connection, for her willingness to be here with her. And calling in now your signature frequency at a core soul level, untouched by low frequency experiences in this lifetime or any other, calling that in now. This is the essence of you, beyond the you that you currently know. The pure soul essence of you. And allowing that to come in and mix and meld and merge with the signature frequency of this planet. Let it swirl and dance and build in your heart. And opening the heart chakra now just a bit wider. As you also call in and allow the flow of divine love. And all of these energies building within you, gathering in your heart, and beginning to emanate from your throat, and flowing down your arms to your hands, and really emanating from all of you, radiating, emanating from you as the light that you are. And as you hear the birds sing in the background, the sun shines on you, and you feel yourself shining, illuminated from within with your essence, the divine love, and the love of this planet, you gently step forward into the waters. You slide your feet along the bottom. Maybe there are some stones or some mud, algae. Just feel and notice what's there for you in the waters. As the waters flow around you, you allow your hands to begin to charge up, to allow that divine love and the loving intention from your heart to build in the energy in your hands. And with intention to bless the waters with divine love, with the purest essence of this planet, to reawaken the love that she is, you gently lean forward and place your hands into the water. And from your heart, you send that energy into the water. And you intend that that energy flow to every bit of water throughout this entire world, through crystal caves and underground springs and streams, through oceans and rivers and lakes, and all the little babbling brooks. Everywhere, the rains, even little drops in the clouds, get some of this love now. And you notice as this shift occurs, as these waters fill with the divine love and the emanation of your pure heart, you notice how now the waters within you and the waters of this planet are one. And you give thanks. And feeling that love and joy in your heart, when you're ready, come on back. How'd it go in there?
Thank you, Alara. There's there's so much purity in this unity consciousness that you transmit.
Mm,
I feel the crystal clear streams of water that you remind us exist within us and exist in the world.
mm.
And our emotions. So much emotional clearing too.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah. So I did a water blessing that day. And when I finished, as I was doing it, my hands started to vibrate intensely.
mm,
And it almost looked as if I could see through them. They
wow.
were like phasing. Um, and so I looked at my friend who was standing on the shore and I said, "Are you seeing this?" And she said, "I'm seeing more than that." She's a seer. There was all kinds of cool light and different things going on. Um, anyway, yeah, so we touched hands and my hands were, and she was like, "Ah." And then after that, I read the Christ letters because he said, "Okay, now read letter one." Um, and that is where he talks about his experience and how that was happening to his whole body. But I had not had that physical experience before, so it was really interesting to be with that. But yeah, the waters are so powerful, and the waters within us, um, when we've gone through that process, that devotion of purification, even through our loving intention of calling in and blessing our own drinking waters, blessing the waters within us with divine love daily as a devotion, it really shifts everything because water is so impressionable,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah, tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more about that, or for someone that's just starting to build that relationship with water, like a little 5-minute micro habit they could have, with their glass of water, where would you have them start?
So let's start with actually Dr. Emoto. EMOTO, which I think is just the most synchronistic name for what I'm going to tell you. He was a scientist, a doctor who studied water, and he found that he did an experiment where he would take bottles of water and he would freeze them, but he would speak into them and write on them with a label different words. Right? Many people are now familiar with this experiment, thankfully, and it gives us some good context for this. But basically, words that were spoken with loving intention into the water, they would cause the water to have these beautiful snowflake-like crystalline formations in them under the microscope when evaluated after freezing. And those that had hateful or negative, harmful words, those intentions put into them, they looked fractured and chaotic. And so if you think about, this is where 70% of our body is water, 70% of the earth is water, right? And so thinking about that experiment and noticing how our own streams of consciousness affect the streams within and around us, literally, they shift the structure, the molecular structure of the waters. So think about that. Ways that you can practice bringing things into better alignment for your health and wellness and for your peace of mind, literally. Um, think about what you're taking in terms of your relationships, your conversations, your media consumption. For me, I can't remember the last time I turned a TV on. If I need to know something, I promise you, Spirit always gets me the message. I will find out. Um, but there were things that I needed to tune out of because they were planting seeds. We sow and we reap, you know, and I wanted to be really mindful of what seeds were being sown in my consciousness because that's a garden that I have to tend. And so other people planting seeds that were harmful or not worthy of my focus, my attention, yeah, needed to be taken out. So all that to say, think about like if we're listening to really chaotic music or chaotic thoughts, hateful or harmful thoughts, the waters in our body are affected by that, and then that in turn affects our cycles of thoughts, et cetera. So that then shapes our world. Um, so that's one thing is just minding what you're consuming in that regard. Programming or blessing your water, just like we went through in the meditation a moment ago, you can simply take your water into your hands and with intention before you drink it, bless it with divine love. It's very high frequency. It's beautiful. And then you're drinking that and intending that. If you're taking a bath, I love salt baths, especially for times when people are feeling like a fish out of water, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, like take a salt bath, and that can be very grounding. And when you're doing that, again, bless the water because seriously, we know even scientifically that this is validated that when we speak into the water with intention, it changes its structure, right? And then you're bathing in that, and it's helping to reprogram you. So these are a few of the little micro bits that we can use and apply daily.
Grow shifts that make a big impact.
Huge.
Especially, as we're building that relationship, like a friendship, we start small and it makes more sense that the relationship is built slowly and surely. It's as the water gets to trust us more with our intentions, we trust ourselves more. And what do you typically like to do to infuse it with divine love? Do you like saying things out loud, like a little prayer? Do you like singing to it?
So
What's your specific signature on this?
So the divine love is actually, it's interesting. I'll add this. So I'm studied in many different lineages from around the world, and also certified in many different sciences and certifications in terms of medical and then also holistic different modalities. All this to say, in amongst those, I'm also certified in quite a few different energy healing techniques. I don't really use any of those certifications anymore because I've remembered more of who I am and I've remembered lifetimes on other planets and all kinds of different things that I now just have. I'm like, oh, I'm just me and my soul does the work. Um, but it does it through divine love. What we need to do in this is really, really simple. And this is what Yes used to do. You get out of the way You surrender your mind and your ego and you go, oh, yeah, this isn't about me. There is something higher and much more powerful that's flowing through here. And you can simply call it divine consciousness or divine love. And you get out of the way and you let it flow through. So it really is about, we could talk about like just surrendering and relaxing any tension out of your body. This is where meditation, progressive relaxation, these types of techniques on a daily basis are really important because we're in that nervous system regulation. And when we are, you know, tension tightens up and constricts the flow of energy through our vessel, right? It constricts blood flow, it constricts the flow of thought, it constricts the flow of it. Anytime we have tension in us, it's constrictive,
Yeah,
right? And it blocks the flow. And it's blocking the flow of the divine love and of spirit, as well as all of these other physical things that we typically look to. So yeah, as far as programming, it's very simple. It's like you just relax, you get completely out of the way, you put your hands on it, you remember how powerful you are in your surrender, and the divine love flows through you. You just command it. You don't need an intermediary. You need no one outside of yourself.
not even your
You don't
voice.
Yeah, you don't need to go, yeah, nobody needs to bless your water for you. No, you are sovereign. You are just as powerful as anyone else. You are just as connected to the divine as anyone else. And you just step into your power
Yeah.
and you command it. And you do that by completely relaxing and letting yourself get out of the way.
I love that. So for some
Mm.
people, it may be surrendering, might be doing a little yoga nidra before. For others, it may be singing. For others, it might just be meditating. For others, it may just be being in nature. So everyone gets to add kind of like their signature, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, find what works for you. Find what feels good. Follow your joy too. I mean, most importantly in life, always following your joy. I do love singing.
Yeah, I know.
Singing is
I
so
had
good.
to in because I
Yeah.
know you've been activating your voice recently, and yeah, is there
Yeah.
is there something that feels interesting to talk about in terms of all the work that you have done in health and understanding why that was such an important part for you to get to this level of spiritual evolution? Because what I feel is I heard a phrase that said, you know, when you in your body aren't in the health you need, putting beautiful spiritual words and content is like putting air into a balloon with a hole, right? Or an air mattress with a hole. So do you still feel that is in alignment? Like first you had to focus on the body to then do this, or is there a timeline where order doesn't matter? I'm just really curious.
Yeah. Mm. All things are connected, and all of it emanates from consciousness. Everything, everything. Nothing is really as solid as it appears. And I'll say the most important thing is to love yourself and to be in your full expression. Um, that's the most important thing. And to look in and find anywhere that there feels like there's constriction or if there's dis-ease in the body, dis-ease is simply a lack of ease.
Mhm.
Ease comes when you're in alignment with who you really are, and you're in divine alignment, and you're in alignment with, as the elder I sat with over the weekend said, I was at a medicine journey with a native tribe over the weekend here in Sedona, and he said, it's your sacred design.
Mhm.
It's being in alignment with your sacred design, um, which really then you can get into other traditions. It's written in the stars.
Mhm.
There's so much beauty in just understanding who you are, who your soul came to be, not who you were programmed into being,
Right.
releasing that, and really following the messages of your body and the messages of your heart. In my own healing journey and healing work, I am a national board certified health and wellness coach, an integrative nutrition health coach, a certified pain management coach, all the things, like many, many things over the years, because I found myself about, ooh, what's it been, 15 years ago now, maybe, 75 pounds heavier than I am now. I had 18 active prescriptions at the time. And I was seeing 6 specialists and a primary care physician every month, and no one could figure out how to fix me. So I had to figure out how to fix me. My little boy at the time brought me a Mother's Day card that said, Mommy was good at sleeping. And he meant it as a compliment. Um, and so, yeah, it's been a very long healing journey for me. Um, 7 different autoimmune diseases, mental health challenges galore. And, I was even on all kinds of different medications for lots of different things over the years. And all of them were stepping stones. I guess the thing is not to ever make anything wrong or bad. You're simply in a process. Just like the earth, if you look around at it, we could judge it, the state of the world, or we can just see that it's in a process and stay in that state of empowered hope and understanding that as it is now, it won't always be. And so is the same with our body. But if we believe that we're going to heal, I can promise you, and we continue to seek, it will be answered and we will heal. I now have the only medication, and it's not even really a medication that I have to take now, and I believe I'll be off of that soon too, is a prescription methylated B vitamin. I'm not, all of the other medications have gone. Everything has been in remission for a few years now. Well, really, a couple years. The last of the conditions was I got rid of thyroid medication a few months ago. Spirit told me it was time to let that go, and I was like, "Are you sure?" And okay, so I tossed it, and I have not needed it since. Um, and this is not to tell everybody to go out and throw the medications away, right? If that's where you're at in your process, love yourself where you are. Be grateful that you have these tools and continue seeking yourself. That's really what you're doing in your healing process is seeking yourself. When you find yourself and you find your divine alignment, you start really stepping into your power by acknowledging your truth, speaking unabashedly about who you are from a place of love, unconditional love, because it's unconditionally loving to yourself to be who you truly are. And that's actually unconditionally loving to everyone else, because if you're not in alignment, no one else is. You can think about the earth as what I learned in functional medicine and integrative medicine is that this is one organism, right? It's not like the old conventional westernized way that people were conditioned into of piecing out into different systems and different organs and people specializing. That was one of the biggest challenges with having all those doctors working on me was they weren't talking to each other.
Well,
That's crazy. Um, we're one organism, right? And everything affects everything else. And if just because a stem cell in the body can become anything,
mhm,
if all the stem cells decided they wanted to be ear cells, you wouldn't have a very balanced body, right? But it's so cool to be an ear cell. Okay, cool, but we don't need 10 ears, right? We need all of the things. The earth is one body, and it needs all of the enzymes and all of the cells and all of the organs, just like the body needs a balance too. So, which part did you come to be?
mhm.
What's your uniqueness in this whole of the earth? And are
Well,
you being in your unique expression? Because if you're not, there's dis-ease. When one cell is off, the whole body feels it. Same with the earth. We need you in your unique signature frequency, in your light, co-creating what you came to create with the earth. And to do anything less creates disease in ourselves and in the whole, because we're all one.
so this is a beautiful reminder of that unity consciousness that we also get to tap into health and in the medical field, like choosing like an integrative health approach where the doctors are speaking together and where we are seen as a whole system instead of cardiologist, dermatologist and all the pieces. So I love that. Since we began talking about the thread, I feel like I feel like I have now been able to unite it and what resonates is, we get to tap into our sovereignty to choose that coherent field if we so desire, which is it's much more fun here. Um, so so we get to tap into that and that allows us to start tapping into more of that unity consciousness and diffusing the haze of separation. So this call is going to end in a couple seconds, but we will log back in so we get to record the little part about Bali and what your offering is there. But I do it so I don't have to edit it, and we just have another go of it because yeah.
That's cool.
So
Yeah,
so you don't have to say anything to end it. This part will be cut off.
got
You
it.
don't spill any secrets now. Da, 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 da.
La, la, la. Good. Yeah. Okay, good. I hope that was helpful.
That was so beautiful. So I'll send you
Good.
a new link so we can record the Bali magic.
Sounds good.
No,
See you in a minute.
in a second.